Hello YouTube and welcome back to the GonzoEwok channel. I am Gonzo.
And I'm Ewok.
And today we're here to play a little bit more of Kerbal Space Program, or as we call it around here, Ewok, get ready for it,
Geordie Space Program!
So, okay, we've got an exciting episode in store today. Hopefully we're going to do a little bit better than the last episode that you watched. One thing that we should point out, there is an episode that we recorded last week. You're not going to ever see that one because, well...
It's a failed episode too.
Yeah, it's a failed episode too, effectively. We recorded it, nothing of note happened in it, so don't worry about our reverts, don't worry about losing crew or anything daft like that. But effectively, if you've watched the previous episode 1 of this season, you'll know that it was a bit of a misfire, really. We spent ages putting together a rocket, trying to launch it, trying to just go up into a solar orbit to get a little bit of science. Kind of went wrong. We then recorded a second episode and did very much the same thing, and we thought, you know what, you deserve better than that.
Yeah, we don't want to put you through exactly the same sort of thing 2 episodes in a row.
Indeed. So what's actually happened is that over this bank holiday weekend that we've just had at the Easter time, Ewok has spent a bit of time putting the hours in and putting a new rocket together that he assures us he's quite confident could get us into planetary and hopefully get to Eve. So what we're going to do now is, in a remarkable bit of editing, in the next few seconds you should hopefully see a little brief montage where Ewok will show you what's going on with this new rocket. Okay. And hopefully then that should have everything brought to light. What are you doing?
Sorry, I was getting confused and trying to get back to the Space Centre there. I was stuck on the wrong screen.
Right, okay then. So yeah, hopefully...
that'll all be out the way with now.
Right.
Now you're just jabbering to yourself.
Okay, then. So we'll...
Would you like to see the new rocket? You haven't seen the new rocket before. This is what I built with my bank holiday weekend.
Okay, then, so let's go for it then.
Now, it doesn't have a name yet, but I've had a name suggested by one of our viewers.
Hopefully it's a fitting name. I'm still in the dark about this rocket here, so I'd like to see it.
Now, what the hell did I call it? Untitled Spacecraft, that'll be
That's
it.
original.
I hope that, 288 parts.
It's quite a big rocket.
It's quite a big rocket, and that's where the name suggestions come from. This is Kirby who suggested it gets this name. I'll give it the name before you see the full thing.
I'm already impressed by the girth of these boosters.
It's the USS Mandingo.
Mandingo.
And I'm not going to go into where the name comes from.
If you know, great.
If
but
you know, you know.
Probably spend a bit more time doing other things. You know, I mean, watching too much of the USS Mandingo could very possibly leave you blind.
So this is the Mandingo.
Fuck, it's wide.
Yeah, it's wide. It uses a sort of fuel cross-feed system, so
cool.
These outer tanks are all feeding into the inner tanks.
Aye.
So it started out with 1 in the middle, 4 on the outside, and then each one on the outside has an extra 2 on it, so then it's 8, and then 16 on the final ring. So
of course the viewers will have seen that little montage that you're putting together there as well, so they'll have a bit of an idea. I haven't seen it. My first impressions, I think it looks the part. It's pretty fucking big, like.
Well, what I want to do with this is I want to take it to Eve and farm some science in Eve.
Aye.
And it's designed for a one-way trip.
Mm-hmm.
This is the lander stage. It has no engines on it. In order to maximise what we get, I've got all the science gear on it, plus I've got the actual science station,
Aye.
which improves what you get on the transmission.
So this is, I mean, effectively, this is a substantial amount of kit that we're going to be putting into Eve as well. So technically, you could even argue that this constitutes it's a ship one, but it constitutes a base, really, doesn't it?
We have to send 3 Kerbals on a one-way mission. We need 2 to occupy the lab and 1 to occupy the control centre.
Yeah.
So it's not a suicide mission, because they will live, they just will never, ever, ever be able to come back home.
You say that they'll live, there's still no guarantee of that. But I think...
really, I'm quite proud of this. I gave it a quick test launch, got it into orbit, and made sure I still had some fuel left. I think it'll be enough to get to Eve.
Cool.
It's going to be a bit of a funny one getting there, because I don't know how to get there properly.
No, I've got an idea about that, but you're going to do your way, and I'll probably talk through an alternative way of doing it based on the research I did to try and find out what we did wrong after our last episode.
Well, we're going to need to decide who we're going to take on this mission. Bearing in mind they're never coming back. So who's going to pilot it?
Well, let's have a think here.
Desley and Mirza. Mirza and Desley. One of them's a hero and one of them's an arsehole. But I can't remember which one's which.
I think from memory that Desley is the hero and Mirza was the shit.
So Mirza can pilot it.
Cool.
And never come back. And then
Janine-
Billy Bobo's a hero.
Yeah, Janini was one of the failed ones from mine, so send them.
So we'll send Janini.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who else have we got? Send Dudvis. Dudvis is a good name. Dudvis in space.
Dudvis.
That sounds as though it could be like one of those shitty kind of like action adventure comedies. You know, that big slew of them that came out in the 90s.
So these are our three-man suicide mission. I actually need to move this ladder a little bit because I had a tiny bit of problems with that ladder. I could get up and in the ship because I had a little test on the launch pad to make sure the ladder worked, but it was just a little bit awkward. So it's better if I connect that there. You know, it's probably going to be better if I just do it like that.
Cool.
That should work. I mean, I could test it on the launch pad.
Nah.
Good stuff. Well, I'll save that because that's a slight change. And let's go to Eve.
Sweet.
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I'm nervous, but excited.
And also because we're doing kind of episodes a piece here as well.
Hang on, why is Bob in the pilot seat? Let's
jump back.
get back to vehicle assembly.
Now that was a revert flight, but
Well, it hadn't really
we'll
launched.
forgive that. Aye, that's it.
That was a bit weird because I did set them up, didn't I?
One thing that I should point out just while Ewok takes care of that in the last
was it Desley we were sending?
it was Desley, Janini.
Desley, Janini, and Dudvis.
I'll try a third time now, shall I? Just to keep the commentary nice and smooth and slick. I was going to point out that Ewok is at the controls here. He flew the last aborted mission from the video that you won't see. But for continuity of the series, I flew the craft
In the last substantive episode.
Yeah, in the last episode, in episode 1. So it's Ewok's turn this time. I get to sit back and just be a little whiny bitch about things.
It's a big ass rocket, this. I hope you'll be impressed because, like I say, I've launched it in a little test run. I hope you'll like it.
I'm looking forward to it.
You want to give me a countdown?
All right, we'll go. I'll count down from 3, and you'll go on the note. All right.
Okay.
Right. 3, 2, 1. You bastard.
Yeah, I'm a rough, tough spaceman who breaks the rules.
Maverick.
Isn't afraid to bend the rules to get
maverick,
results.
yeah. The problem I've got now is you designed the rocket, you're flying the rocket, and I don't even get to do the countdown. I'm completely fucking useless here. I might as well just go home.
Well, as you can see, it's a bit of a slow burner to start with. It does threaten to overheat. I believe I didn't have to turn the engine down.
It is chewing that fuel.
It is chewing the fuel, but bear in mind it's a fuel crossfeed, so it's only the outer engines that are actually being used up, although it doesn't appear to be.
It's got a slight bit of rotation going on as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not fully symmetrical because it's got so many bits and bobs on it that I couldn't actually use the symmetry bit, the symmetry tools all the way through.
So cobbled together in true Geordie space program.
Yeah,
fashion.
I mean, I'm not pretending that this is an ideally made rocket, but I think it'll do the job.
Well, just move that out of the way as well.
Oh, sorry, was my mouse?
It was over the rocket. I mean, how unprofessional can you get?
So here we go. Aren't we doing well?
Well, as I said, this is literally, genuinely the first time I've seen it. I'm impressed with the size of it. I just want to see what this thing can do. You know, it's I'm still somewhat concerned about that fuel, just seeing how quickly it's getting through it. You know, but
I wouldn't worry about it. There's still plenty left. Bear in mind these fuel canisters are twice the size of the ones I've just got rid of.
Cool.
So I wanted to make it bottom heavy, so that it didn't fall over on the runway. the launch pad.
What, in a harken back to the old red laser?
So you'll see these ones are going down a lot slower.
Aye. Well, that's nice and comfortable. I'm happier about the way this is going now.
Oh yeah, it's all good, mate. We are actually going up quite slowly. I've just noticed that I'm leaning quite heavily, so I'll try and pull that up a bit. It is a weighty beast.
Aye.
So it does require some push to get going.
But it is. I mean, now that it's got those big fuel tanks. I mean, it's still doing very nicely here. It's not bad at all, you know.
Absolutely. That's enough to get me up there. Let's establish an orbit.
Cool.
Stage 2. That'll do. It's not exactly the neatest, but
it's not exactly rocket science, is it?
It's not exactly rocket science. Now, I've got a little bit of RCS on it, or SAS. SAS. I've got a little bit of SAS on it.
RCS.
Well, whatever. I've got a little bit of that on it.
Aye.
But it still manoeuvres like an absolute pig,
Aye.
as you can see.
All the rockets that we've designed have. There was only one. I think the red laser actually, once it got down to its lower stages, handled all right, providing it didn't explode on the launch pad.
Well, this is like a bitch to control. It could probably do with some tweaking, to be honest. But we'll tweak it as we go.
Aye, I think we had a brief discussion before we started recording as well, and hopefully if this
See, I've
launcher,
overshot there a bit.
aye, but hopefully this launcher, as a launch vehicle itself, if it works all right, this could be the one that sees us through the rest of this season potentially. And all we'd need to do is change up the top end to suit the mission that we want to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's designed for a one-way mission for 3 Kerbals, but it's quite heavy. You could easily replace that with a lander stage.
With some engines on and what
that
have
is
you.
capable of taking off and breaking orbit itself. You know, you might even get a small or medium-sized space station on this, and they'll have enough poke to take it into Kerbal.
Aye. Well, that's something that we can think about. We'd still like to maybe like, even if it's like an orbital refueling station or something like that, when we're thinking
An
about
orbital
interplanetary.
refueling station would be really handy.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going interplanetary here, but if we want to go interplanetary and back,
Yeah.
we're probably going to need a station to refuel at, certainly.
Yeah.
Possibly even a station to do a little bit of basic construction at.
Aye.
Where we can take up a rocket in parts and bang those parts together.
Aye.
I mean, you're talking way in advance of anything that I've even ever attempted to do there. I've built a very small basic refueling station in my personal game.
The thing is with that, it's given me room for expansion, and it's given me other ideas. And I think certainly when we're looking at interplanetary, think about it in real life. You need infrastructure to do that. You know, certainly to make that work effectively.
I mean, you look back, like 12 episodes ago, we couldn't even imagine getting to the moon.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Well, we're not here yet. We're still there, but hopefully we'll be here.
Well, he's there.
In pieces, lying with a smashed ankle and no teeth, remember?
So I am shooting for Eve. That's this sexy little purple baby here.
Yeah.
I'm going to start by setting it as a target.
Now, you've got your own kind of way of doing this, haven't you?
Now, I know the most efficient way is you have to work out where Eve is in comparison to where Kerbin is, and then shoot for it and hit the orbit from there, much like you do with the moon.
Yeah.
However, I don't know how to do that, so what I'm going to do, probably not the most fuel-efficient way of doing it, but I can do it, I think, because it's going to use similar sort of techniques to basic intercepting and docking.
Yeah.
I am going to get into an orbit around the sun.
Yeah.
And then stabilize so that I'm on the same inclination axis, whatever, as Eve.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm going to try and get from a solar orbit to Eve from there.
Okay. Then.
Probably not the most fuel efficient, but it's probably my best bet.
So we'll see how that goes. And I mean, one thing that I should point out, when we last did our recording, I felt thoroughly depressed after we failed again. That's the second episode that you won't see. That night, Scott Manley had put up a video about...
Look, I've got a mun intercept totally by accident. So yeah, there we go. That's a burn just to... I'm not going to get too close. No, we'll do a mun. We'll do a flyby of the mun, and then we should, after that, end up in a solar orbit. Cool. I think.
Well, what I was trying to say before you so incredibly rudely interrupted is again, and like that's 2-3 times in like 5 minutes of recording. But what I was going to say was that after we did the last recording, I went back home, and as I said, I was fucking depressed because we did exactly the same as we did in episode 1, basically, and I thought, you know what, we're fucked here. Geordie space program dies. We can't get any better. We've hit our plateau. We still might have done, that remains to be seen. But the thing is, when I got back, there was a video from Scott Manley, and if you haven't seen Scott Manley's videos and you play Kerbal, what the fuck are you doing? But you should really go and watch them.
They're almost as good as ours.
Yeah, indeed.
He's almost as good at the game as us.
Exactly, almost as technical as us. I mean, with his numerous degrees in astrophysics and what have you, you know. But he put up a video on interplanetary travel, and he gives an excellent account of how you can get to Eve efficiently, because really our approaches are always brute force. Like, I'm sure Ewok can do this, but it's going to be the brute force approach. Somebody that likes a bit of finesse isn't going to be impressed with the way that we do things, you know. But effectively, what you want to do, you want Eve to be behind Kerbin, or behind Kerbin in the orbit, and what you want to do is between the sun, Kerbin, and Kerbal, and Eve behind you, you want to kind of form like an equilateral triangle. So it should be about sort of like 45 to 65 degrees.
See, this is
On
exactly
an
the
angle
level
behind
of
you.
complexity that makes me not want to try.
Basically, it's just forming a triangle. If this doesn't work, for whatever reason, I'm going to take over and I'll try and emulate that. It's something that I've had a bit of a play around with in my own game, and you know, I still haven't been to Eve and made that work for us.
I just lost the that stage of the rocket.
Is that a good thing?
It's not a big deal. I honestly thought this would be the stage we were using for the transfer, so we got a little bit extra out of it than I was planning.
Cool. Okay then. But yeah, definitely the idea being that you can form an equilateral triangle with Kerbin at one point, the sun in the middle, obviously, and then Eve should be behind you, and then you push your orbit out until you've got like a solar orbit, kind of like what you're doing, but on the other side of
if I rudely
Kerbin.
interrupt with an observation that
But it's never stopped you before, has it?
We've got all the science gear on here, and we've got a transmitter, so we've got the science base, so we can reset the things. So I can get science from the moon flyby, and get science
The solar orbit.
the solar orbit. We can get science from everywhere and send it back. It's gonna be immense. Okay,
Well, that's pointless.
Well, that's pointless. So we'll just not use that.
How are we fixed 4 solar panels on this thing?
It's covered in them. We've got them all around the bottom there, and I've got some on the top.
Cool.
It's all good.
And are you using the extendable ones that we unlocked, or are you using the little crappy ones?
We haven't unlocked the extendable
Oh,
ones.
have we
yet.
not? I thought we had.
No, I believe we had the same discussion in episode 1.
Hmm.
We were going to use them, and then we realised that we didn't
Didn't
actually
have
have them. We went for the big rockets instead.
See, this is the danger when you record weekly. You know, you forget things in between. But okay, then. Well, hopefully that should be enough to see we're through.
That's a little something there.
There we go. So we're getting gravity readings there.
That was just the Science Junior there.
Hmm.
Oh, it's taken a long time to transmit that, isn't it?
Ah, it's a bit of a weird.
Oh, it's because it's going through the mobile processing lab to get
Ah.
just that little extra bit of poke. So they're already paying for themselves. It's already a successful launch.
There we go. Aye.
Anyway, where were you about Scott's videos, Scott Manley?
Well, yeah, I think that was about it. Really, it was just a case of forming an equilateral triangle with Eve behind you, you on the planet, that's at front. They're kind of 2 points of the triangle, and the third one being the sun itself, Kerbin itself, or Kerbal, sorry. And then all you do is you do your burn to get yourself that solar orbit, escape from the sphere of influence of Kerbin, and then you push yourself out onto a solar orbit that's on the other side of the sun. Kind of like what you're doing here, but it's just because you get that timing right. You've got a much better chance of getting a nice close approach with using the minimum of fuel. But as I said, we'll see how you get on with this, the brute force approach. Personally speaking, I think for the purposes of Geordie Space Programme, certainly because we're only in Season 2, hopefully by the time we're in like Season 50, then we can do these things and look very snazzy. But, you know, we like the brute force approach here. At the end of the day, it's, you know, Geordie Heartland. That's what we're looking at doing. So that's about it. But in any event, we'll always say this and we'll always forget to do it. We should put a link to that video down in the description as well. Hopefully that'll be down there somewhere. So
I'll try and remember, buddy.
I'll see if I can write a note or something like that and I don't know, staple it to your forehead or something.
We've run out of electrical charge, which is a little bit of concern. I guess we just tried to use too much at once, but I should be able to clean that experiment out now, and then we can use it again when we can try and get in a higher orbit and see if we can get anything. Then we'll do the Mun encounter, and we'll see what science we can get from that. Then we'll farm science from the solar.
The solar one should
encounter.
give quite a bit once we've actually got an escape trajectory, which is what we tried to do last episode and it failed. I'm not sure if you'll actually get the moon flyby because I think you've actually got to be in its sphere of influence, so you might have to be in orbit around it to get it.
You just need to be close enough to it, I think.
All right.
I mean, we're getting stuff here. It's all good. Transmit data.
Cool. Check the resources there as well. See what's happening in terms of the
It's using quite a bit of the electrical power, but it is recharging.
What kind of transmitter did we stick on this? Did we stick the fancy one on?
Yeah, I've got the fancy one, the extendable and unextendable one.
Not quite sure how it works in terms of like its energy consumption. Maybe that one does it quickly and effectively but uses lots of power. Or maybe that's the most efficient one. Not 100% sure.
It looks nicer, which is why I went for it.
Ultimately, all we need to do is we've got to bear in mind that the solar panels work. Other thing that we've got to bear in mind is that we're only going to be able to really do this when we're on the light side of Eve. So we're going to have to try when we get closer to it land on the ground on the light side of Eve. That's going to have to be the plan.
Well, Eve has a day and night cycle, doesn't it? It's a
Yeah,
rotating
yeah,
planet.
it will
It's
do,
not
like.
fixed.
But ideally, and I think even just for coming down, because I want to see it in all its purpley glory, I want it to come down on the light side of the planet. It's very round.
What we're doing for charge.
It's a bit slow to charge, but that's probably just because the solar panels are the little crappy ones.
Now, I'm probably safe to do EVAs on this, to be perfectly honest with you, because we've got the ladders installed.
Are you sure this is wise? You know they do have a horrible habit of just flinging off somewhere. Yeah, try it maybe once we've escaped Kerbin's sphere of influence. Once we've got that escape, and that should hopefully be worth the risk.
I have to reset the experiment, so I apologise that this is taking a little bit of time, but we're here. We're going to do the science when we're on the way there anyway. We need to unlock some extra stuff, so you're just going to have to live with it, I'm afraid, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen.
Now,
after this one, I'll do another couple of experiments above the moon, and then off to
Eve.
Well, off to Eve via solar orbit.
Cool. All right. I suppose while we've hit like a bit of a lull as well, how long did the craft take you to build, and how long were you working on this for?
I worked on it for about 2 hours, but that included a couple of false starts where I wasn't able to get it symmetrical, and I ended up just abandoning it and rebuilding it.
Cool. All right. So momentous occasion coming up here.
So, oh, hang on. Have I just accidentally shot past the moon encounter?
Honestly, I'm not sure if it would have worked or not. Might have done, but...
We've done a fair bit of experimentation over there. Let's see what we get here.
Still,
Space high over Kerbin.
Still not quite there yet then.
So there's nothing for us there. Sorry for shooting past the encounter there. It must have been quite a short encounter. I'll just get into
speed it up and get
into the solar orbit.
Bang! There we'll go.
So we are now in orbit around the sun.
Scroll out, because before we start doing the science, I just want to kind of see what's going on here.
So our orbit's pretty similar to Kerbal's orbit,
because
we're still quite close to the planet when we got caught in the atmosphere. So we're in a bit of an elliptical orbit. Ideally would be in a circular orbit, but I don't really think it matters that much.
It's worth pointing out as well, this will be the furthest away that we've ever been in Geordie space program as well, though. Regardless of what happens, that in itself is a milestone. Further before we've travelled, or we will travel further before than we ever have.
That's not bad. We're going to get 33 science plus 15%.
Send that shit home.
So 49.5 science. That's pretty good.
It's not bad at all. Send it back.
That was just for goo, so we should get even more from this bad boy.
Aye.
The materials bay. Let's open that up.
It was 275. We should really stop for a second to read what the reports say. I like to read the descriptions of the lab experiments going off.
The high radiation environment caused a few of the samples to glow. It looks like it would be fun to paint the rocket with this.
You get that with quite a few of them. So it's a standard one. It's not anything... I think that some of them might be like unique to be dependent on where you are. What about temperature readings, anything like that? It's worth doing while we're here.
Let me send this one off first.
Sorry, I'm overloading you.
You are. Too much at once. Damn it. Let's just transmit that data. Transmit all. Yeah, it's trying to warn us that once I send it, that will stop the experiment from being used again, but that's the beauty of this manned science station. It can reset the experiments. I'm
well impressed that you managed to punt that up into space as well, because that thing weighs a friggin' ton.
It really does. What's this? Temperature reading. Log temperature. Temperature scan can't be done right now. I think you need to be in an atmosphere. I think it's the same for the barometer, to be honest.
Might be.
Yeah, atmospheric pressure. We've got a crew report yet. No, put the talk back on. Crew report, you record the crew's assessment of the situation. Fairly standard stuff. Let's get that transmitted.
But you get 100% of the science for that as well, don't you?
You do, plus 55 science. We're already doing pretty good.
This should hopefully get an unlock or two back on the planet.
Let's do an EVA.
Go for it.
I don't like how far it zooms away.
It's quite nice there with the sun in the background. That's quite a nice picture.
EVA report. You feel kind of small right now. You hope you know where you're going.
So do we. So do we, Desley.
I can't transmit because he's currently outside the
ship.
where's the transmitter? That's the problem with this ship. It's far too big.
Cool.
Starting transmission. How much power? Yeah, the power's filling up quite nicely.
Cool. We're doing all right.
An extra 88 science, and before I move on, I'm going to clean the experiment.
Aye.
The next step is to get my alignment in line with Eve, so we're moving on the same sort of horizontal plane.
Aye.
That'll make it a lot easier to intercept.
Cool. I just hope we can get it from the where the planets are.
I'm going to have to travel all the way to the descending node for this. It's going to take 186 days.
Right, I'll just have a bit of a nap then.
But bearing in mind that days in Kerbal since the update have changed to 6-hour days.
Yeah. So it's not as long as it once would have been, because that's the universal measurement is now 6 hours effectively, isn't it?
So I want to get that at 0 by... I'm actually burning sort of up over whatever that is in space.
Cool. So that's a 27-second burn.
27-second burn. I'm going to get myself lined up now with the actual burn node.
Cool.
I've no idea where that'll be on the nerve ball. I wish I was clever enough to work that shit out. It's going to be along this line, along the middle line of the nerve ball.
Middle for diddle. The best thing to do when you're lost anywhere, and that doesn't matter if you're orbiting around the sun, just kind of freeballing, or if you're, just sitting in city traffic, just middle for diddle. Always aim for the middle.
There we go. There's me manoeuvre node.
Cool.
So I'll get it lined up there, and then just prepare Desley to burn in 186 days. Now, let's just hope I don't overshoot this, because that would be a disaster.
We'll be alright. We've still got plenty of time to make the minor adjustments if we need to.
We could probably fit all the missions that we've done so far in Geordie Space Program into the time it's going to take to complete this one.
We'll be alright, man. We'll get sorted. Cool. Alright.
Right, so...
speed yourself up and get yourself a bit closer to it.
Where am I? Where is my ship?
It's there. There we go. We're very close to the planet.
You see, this is definitely an inefficient way to do it, especially in terms of time.
Aye.
But we've made a fuckload of science. Even if this goes horrible and we crash into Eve, or we just miss it and end up floating in space forever like everyone else, that's a lot of science we've sent back. We're going to be able to unlock some stuff. Look at me making disclaimers for my inevitable failure already.
But the thing is, though, this is 3 white shirts. So, the value of their lives, this is going to pay for itself dividends.
Yeah, the value of their lives is insignificant, isn't it?
And so, thinking ahead here a little bit, when we get to Eve, we're going to use purely parachutes to come down onto Eve.
Yeah.
And there's no rocketry on the landing stage itself to control anything.
It was already quite heavy. But we should have some fuel left in the back end of this bed. But in fact, we might even have fuel left on this.
Aye. Well, we'll see. I mean, there's still a shitload of fuel there, and it seems...
There is actually a lot more fuel than I was expecting at this stage, but...
What engines did you use on this, then? Are these the
These are the mainsail engines.
Mainsails. Cool.
The big boys.
Nice. I think the mistake that I made was I was using the skipper engines, which just didn't really cut the mustard for what we're trying to do.
More power, the better, I think. That's the philosophy I went with when I built it. It's probably not correct, but... As you say, we just try and power our way through things.
Yeah, I think really we only have to worry about things like specific impulse once we get our hands on something like nuclear, or I don't even know if like ions on the game. I think they are possibly on the really high end of the tech tree. But when we get those kind of things, they're useless if you're in an atmosphere. But if you get yourself up here, they'll do the trick. They're not incredibly powerful, but the efficiency on them is incredible.
I'm going to cancel my manoeuvre node so I can manually track the node as it goes.
All right. Are you sure that's wise?
So I'm just tickling it.
Alright. Now, it did say it was going to take a 27-second burn.
Okay, so a bit more power.
Whack it. Maybe just hover over that. See, we've got the descended nodes coming up there. Just want to keep an eye on that.
Oh, yeah. I know what I'm doing. There's too much shit in the way. There we go. Okay, I'm going to slow it down. Slow it down a bit more.
A little bit more.
And then...
Yeah,
that ought to do it.
I get a nice, safe, comfortable margin to work with there.
Okay, so... I'm on the right plane. I'm on the same plane as...
Nice.
As Eve, more or less. So...
I'm feeling good about this, Ewok.
Whew, yeah, me too. Also nervous.
So
all I want to do is now bring
bring it
the
together.
orbit in so it just kisses it.
Oof.
And
There
I
we go.
thought that
Right,
that
that's
is a
miles
long
away.
way apart.
Aye.
But then I just want to rotate it around and see where I can get a nice close meeting. Nowhere from there. You see, this is the problem with the orbit being slightly elliptical.
Aye.
If I was in a circular orbit, it would be a lot better to do this.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, we've now entered into the randomly set up manoeuvre nodes and kind of tweak them a little bit phase. This is phase 2 of the operation.
So all I need to do is find a point where I can get them to kiss.
Ooh, that's close. As you're doing that, if you slow down a little bit more, it should bring them back as you're doing that. See, and then that should let you just kind of rotate them that little bit more without them disappearing.
No.
Yep, see? Look, and then slow it down a bit. Push it around a bit.
Ooh, aren't you good?
Yeah, see? Learned something.
Right, so what's my distance there?
Still quite a hike off, I think. But it's not bad. Still not, well. Close, but still nowhere near it in terms of what we're trying to do.
No, it's all fine. I mean, I'll do as much as I can with the manoeuvre node, but in the end, this is going to have a bit of manual work to it.
Bit of blunt force, eh? Ah, it's not bad at all.
I mean, my angle's a bit wonky there. 119,000 kilometres.
Just a little bit more. Oh!
There we go, we've got an encounter. So it's a distant encounter, but it's an encounter.
Cool, we can work with that. We've got the fuel to
Right.
work with that, I think.
310 days before we hit that manoeuvre node.
Right, whatever you do, don't overshoot this.
Otherwise, we'll have to do another orbit.
Ah, another loop there.
Which, yeah, I don't want to do that.
Well, if we need to, we can, but let's try not to.
How well is this going?
It's scary how well it's going. It's kind of like, you know, when we first tried to aim for the moon and we had failures and we had hiccups and fuck-ups. And then all of a sudden we're just fucking one shot at the thing.
I mean, as I say, it did take 2 hours and 15 to build this rocket, which I'm glad we decided to cut down.
Yeah, that would have been like the best part of 4 episodes worth of us swearing in the vehicle assembly building.
I don't like editing. I like to have things as raw as possible, but I think we've reached the stage where we can't expect people to sit through 2 hours of rocket design for, I don't know, a 30-minute payoff.
Aye, this is it. I mean, the thing to point out is as well, I mean, one of the things that we're considering is we could even have like a kind of like a dumping channel where we could put these bits, if anybody was so inclined to watch 2 hours of quiet rocket building that they could potentially do. I know there's quite a few of the big sort of like Kerbal YouTubers tend to do it, so they'll do it like via a stream or anything, but to be honest, in terms of the kind of the times that we're available to record around work commitments, we cannot really stream. We have to record it fairly unsociable kind of weird hours, so it makes it a little bit tricky to actually stream to the point where anybody would watch. Secondly, I've just got this horrible icy feeling in my guts that even if we were to look at doing some sort of like YouTube or Twitch streaming, no fucker would watch anyway, you know. Wait until we've actually got, you know, a good audience enjoying my videos here. We already do, but let's see that get bigger. You know?
I mean, streaming's great. I like nipping in to watch streamers every now and again because you get to interact with the people who are doing it and ask them questions and things like that. But YouTube's just, it's got the convenience. You can watch on your own time, on your own schedule.
You can pause it if you've got to go off and do something, you know, you can just pause it up, go and do your thing, come back, rewind it 30 seconds just to give yourself a bit of a reminder.
I mean, I'm sure I'll dip into streaming at some point. I'm sure you'll join us for that.
We should do that one time, I think. Maybe if we set ourselves like a target, if we say like we'll get up to a certain amount of subscribers or views and we're doing all right, we'll have like a celebration.
1,000.
Right, we'll see you in 2055, folks.
What are we on now? About 30 something?
36.
36? Oh,
36.
sweet.
Aye.
It's nice that 36 people like our videos enough to press the subscribe
I
button.
love it. It's incredible. But if you haven't pressed it and you're watching this, go and make me happier. But in any event, yeah, I think maybe we could do it. We'll just get absolutely shit-faced and load up some games.
Gaming while drunk is fun.
It is.
If anyone...
Most of our social life outside of like these times where we get together where we need to be sober to play games involve heavy drinking sessions, and I think it's only right that viewers should see that that side of our relationship, really.
If anyone wants to see me drunk, you can go on to Tooks TV, Tooks' channel, and watch me playing Dungeons and Dragons, which is a great nerdy way to spend an afternoon. But on the first episode where the first
It's about the first 6 or so episodes.
The
'cause it was
first
a big
6 or
stuff,
so
wasn't
of the Gambit videos, I was drinking my homebrewed cider.
Yeah.
And my homebrewed cider went really, really wrong, and came out basically just aggressively alcoholic carbonated water. And I sort of, even knowing that it had messed up, I totally underestimated the strength, and I drank like maybe only about 4 or 5 bottles, but I was absolutely minging at the end.
I've tried some of your home brews before as well. There was that one that we drank all night and we felt absolutely fine and going, oh, this is shit, it doesn't do anything until about 11 o'clock, and then it just got absolutely smashed in seconds.
Well, we drank like the first 1 or 2 and felt tipsy, but then
yeah,
that's we were like, wow, I feel quite drunk already. I've only had 2, and then for the next sort of 6 hours or so,
pounding shots and everything.
We didn't seem to get any drunker.
Yeah, just made we're immune to the effects of alcohol. You made anti-alcohol.
It's because it's all natural, all organic. It's the healthy drunk. None of that artificial bollocks in it. That's the stuff that makes you feel all shit.
It's also probably worth pointing out, just as you're coming down towards your point of burn here, this is the fastest that we've ever been as well. Look, we're travelling nearly 10 fucking kilometres a second. So we're now the furthest away, the loneliest Kerbals.
Hang on, I need to work this out.
Fastest as well.
When am I burning on about now?
37 seconds.
37
and a half seconds.
Okay, I'll start on 38, because obviously the engines will need to warm up.
Yeah, and anyway, we'll probably have to do a course correction because there's a very good chance we'll lose that encounter when we do this anyway.
Oh, that encounter it's such a narrow chance to hit that encounter that I will have to do a burn afterwards.
Yeah,
I'm almost sure of it.
Of course.
It's not my strong suit, but luckily we've got a long way to go before we need to get that. But I'll check the fuel situation. Yeah, I think we're going to manage this without having to break into the second engine. I certainly hope so, because hang on, I'm losing the node a bit. Oh shit, it's because I didn't have the RCS and SAS on. Okay, that's gonna hurt it a little bit, but that's okay.
It didn't drift wildly off. It wasn't that bad.
I don't know, when you're this far out, the tiniest little inclination is going to make a huge difference to where you end up, I think.
Yeah, we'll have the same when we're aiming for Minmus as well. I mean, we're one shot at that.
We've got a lot further to go than Minmus.
Well, yeah, but it's the principles are the same, just bigger and longer. That's all it is. It's perfect for the Mandingo. Bigger and longer.
Bigger and longer. Again, that's a reference that some people won't get. Hang on, what the fuck happened there?
Just it flipped around.
I'm sure I got some sort of encounter there.
Oh.
What's that, an encounter? That's an even counter. We're not even going to have to do a bloody course correction. We're online for an even counter. Why is it moving away? Am I still burning? I'm not burning anymore.
Let's have a look.
But that is moving wildly out.
There is probably some really simple explanation for that, but I don't understand it.
I don't understand either.
Oh, it's dropping again.
I don't know what to do. Seriously, mate, I do not know what to do.
Me either. I don't understand this. I think what we need to do is, though, that looks all right for the time being. Speed up time a little bit to get moving towards it, and just keep an eye out. It's just kind of fluctuating wildly. I've no idea why it's doing that.
As long as it's fluctuating.
The thing is, though, once we're a bit closer, then we'll see what's happening and see what we need to do. But it's all academic at this point until we're a bit closer, I think.
I mean, we're a long way away from it. I don't know, we're only.
No, look, you can see it's coming up on the inside track. That's not bad. We can do that, and we've still got this fuel tank, and we've still got an extra one as well, haven't we?
Yeah, that's a good point. We should see how much is left in this fuel tank. A bit,
and then we've still got another big one. Does that have a mainsail engine on as well?
Oh yes, they've all got mainsail engines on them.
Right. Okay, then we should be fine.
One would hope so. So even counter 33 days, 25 days, 20 days.
On the plus side, at least the Kerbals, with there being 3 of them, Desley, if he's locked in the landing cam by himself, he's probably went apeshit by now and just went stir crazy. But the other 2 at least have got each other to have a bit of a chat with. You can play zero gravity ping pong. I don't know. Right,
we've got a lot of signs to do when we get the encounter.
Are you sure we're going to be alright to do that?
Yeah, we've still got 2... hang on, we've got 2 days before we get the periapsis.
Ah, that's fine then. So just tickle that over. I don't know if we'll be able to see it from here, will we? Probably not. Still quite a bit of a distance off. But get into that.
Yeah, we'll get the encounter and we'll start doing some science.
And then at least, I mean, regardless of what happens from this point, it'll be fucking mint if we can land on it.
Hang on, are we going to hit it? We are. That's why I think that's why it might have been going mental.
No, we're not going to hit it.
Sorry, it just looked like it from the
It
angle.
did. I thought that would have been absolutely perfect. We did debate the idea of maybe going to Gilly, but we figured let's not get too ahead of ourselves. So we figured let's just get something on Eve, and then we'll worry about Gilly at some point if we want to come back this way. Look at it in all its purpley splendour. It's
Okay.
quite apt that we've got the Mandingo heading towards the massive purple object.
There it is.
Nice. The first Kerbals to lay the
The-
naked eye on that planet. Sweet, this is a momentous occasion. I'm genuinely excited. I'm getting tingly feelings in my bottom. Right.
Oh, we're not gonna get great amounts for that.
Well, yeah.
Space high over Eve, 31.5 signs. Oh, I'll transmit it all at once.
Yeah.
Observe the materials be.
That's the same paint the rocket.
If only we could bring it back.
I know. We'll worry about that another day. Really, all we need to do is get something working, intact technology down on Eve, and that's a massive milestone 2 episodes into this fucking new series. That's pretty good going.
Oh, you know what? I didn't read the reports either. You'd
Um,
like me to read the reports?
Yeah, those ones, I quickly checked them over. There weren't anything
They're
brand
the
new.
standard ones.
Aye.
Crew report, it'll be the cruise. Oh, you can't help but notice how incredibly purple the planet is. Its shiny oceans are mesmerising.
There's a lot of debate on the Kerbal forums about what the liquid is actually supposed to be. Some people suggest it's rocket fuel. Some people have said it's mercury. But there's a really good debate. A lot of people using science to back up the arguments, theoretical science about what could actually be on the planet there as well. But hopefully we'll find out ourselves when we get down onto the fucking thing and have a bit of a look.
Just checking the fuel situation. I can transmit the crew report and everything else.
Cool.
So I've got the EVA report and the crew report that'll now be Yep, they both got. I did send the crew report, didn't I?
I think so. I think you did. But that usually just goes straight away, doesn't
That's
it?
fine. Let's clean and reset the experiments.
Nice. We're recharging there with the little solar panels. I'm well impressed with this Ewok. Well impressed.
I'm well impressed as well. Blowing my own trumpet and all that shit. Probably going to want to turn this rocket prograde, retrograde.
Yeah, get it retrograde.
Retrograde,
Because we're
that's
going to
good.
come screaming and hurtling in by it, and we'll want to see if we can slow ourselves down. I just hope we've got enough force in these engines to slow ourselves down so we'll get an orbit.
There's a spare engine.
Aye.
So we want to try and get signs high in space over Eve as well,
Yep.
and in orbit over Eve, and then we'll land and we'll complete the last of the mission.
Sweet.
These boys have done the Geordie space program proud,
Aye.
man.
Desley, if you were in fact one of the ones that was a fuck up, I'm very happy with you. And if you were one of our previous heroes that I'm forgetting about, very well done. Anyway, again, we would give you another medal, but we're never going to see you again, frankly.
That's true. It's true. We'll never see
You know,
them again.
one-way trip. Brave, brave boys. But you never know. There might be at some point we might get good enough where we can put something down on Eve that can get back again, and we could put it down near them and bring the boys back home. I still
I'd
think
say you're crazy, but
we could do it. I'm feeling renewed energy here. We could do this. Not now, obviously, but at some point we could do that. We could bring them back. I'm sure we could.
I'm sure we could happily get to Gilly as well.
Aye. But I will get down on Evil. What have we done?
I accidentally skipped forward too far. Right, how the fuck do I salvage this?
I don't think you do.
I'm really shit. It just
Right,
It
okay.
just flew.
I cannot believe you've just fucking done that. What we need to do... Hang on. You were moving in the right direction before. If you can tilt that orbit. Get yourself a
I'm
maneuver
feeling
node.
like we should be burning retrograde, but that didn't seem to be.
Try it. I just don't think we'd have fuel to do that. To be honest, it would be like some ridiculously.
Oh, I can't believe I fucked this up. Shit! All because I
Right,
zipped
just
forward
calm
too
the
fast.
fuck down,
Okay,
and then click on the little line
I'm trying to. It's not liking it.
because you're being too frantic, getting way ahead of yourself. There we go. See, add a maneuver. Now pull that retrograde like a motherfucker. See what happens.
Nah, that's just going to be bringing the other end of the.
Yeah, we're just kind of hurtling off here. What about trying the inclination? That seemed to kind of move in the right direction before. Don't know if that would bring him into the sphere of influence. I mean, look at the burn that would need for that, though.
I've totally missed it and fucked it up.
Right, okay then, zoom back out. What's what orbit?
What the hell is my cat doing?
It's attacking it's attacking an empty sandwich bag.
Okay, change of plan.
Right. Okay, you know when I was talking about that renewed sense of energy and vigour? That's kind of went out the fucking window. Are you going to try and do another sweep?
I could try and do another sweep, or we could try and go to Moho.
You reckon? Whatever you fancy, because at this point everything's went absolutely fucking tits up. This was going to be so good.
Does Juno have an atmosphere?
It does. I mean, not a great atmosphere, but it's got one.
Oh, this might be end of episode time.
I think we might need to call it.
I think this is end of this episode, and
we're going to need to collect our thoughts.
I've
come back.
fucked it up at the last minute. But we have a ship that has fuel and is in a solar orbit, and I reckon we can get it somewhere. So what we need to do is think about what we're going to do with this ship. We could try another flyby for Eve, or we could just go totally crazy and go for Moho or Juna, or we could try and take it back to Kerbal. No, let's not take it back to Kerbal. Let's do something with it.
Aye. Okay, well that's.
But thank you for watching. Really sorry about that ridiculous cock up at the end, which was just me going too trigger happy on the old time warp.
Rest assured that I am going to smack Ewok very hard as soon as we're done.
This could be the best thing that's happened, because we could end up going to another planet and getting even more science and doing a landing.
I want to see Eve. I want to see the purpley goodness of Eve up close and personal.
You want to see Eve?
Aye.
Okay, well, we'll come back next episode where we'll probably be having another go at landing on Eve.
Thank you very much for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you very much indeed, and we'll see you in our next video.
See you next week.